Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our Q&A with Jamie and Leah. And oh my gosh, Jamie, what is our subject today?
Today, it's about ways that we can keep calm when we're working with our animals. And actually anytime, right? Ways we can just
Right.
calm probably would be.
We actually have a really great hack. It's a really cool hack to be calm and to be happy, right? Because when we're happy, we're calm.
Yes.
It's when we are like really excitable that we're not, or we're really upset that we're not. So we just want to do that. But before we get into that, I just want to say a special hello to Mel, who I haven't seen in forever. So hello, Mel. So Mel took my Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners class in October, and then she came to CARE in person to study with Nicholas Pearson and I. So that was a real treat. And then I know you also did the teacher training program.
I did.
Did you guys end that? Is that over now?
It is over.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you love it?
Oh, absolutely. And I actually was thinking about it when I was going somewhere today and thinking about how I kind of came upon Let Animals Lead and then found you and did that. Then, started my journey with Kathleen and got to do CARE and bring my niece along into that and have her learn.
Yeah.
CARE was just tremendous. I can't thank you enough because, you had me hooked. You were patient with me through the first class with me being, trying to kind of reconfigure what I'm thinking. And so I was totally ready. And going to bat for me with Kathleen, and we finished up and raring to go.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited that you're going to be out sharing this really unique and special method. And so, so Mel was already doing animal Reiki before she found the Let Animals Lead system. So it was really, for her, she had to let go of some things that she was doing that were working, right? They were working.
Oh, absolutely. Because I kind of was not like, I wasn't doing hands-on unless they presented. I did study chakras and all that where everything is, and I know how the different energies feel, because a lot of times the animal will present to you,
right?
But I just would be in a quiet space. I was kind of going there anyway, and to have it laid out, going, no, this is a thing. This is for real, and this will carry you into all different realms. Like with Ngozi, So,
oh yeah. So there's a crocodile at CARE, and Ngozi has been with Kristen since Ngozi was just a little baby. And he's a big, probably, I don't know, 7 foot, 8 foot crocodile.
At least 8.
Yeah. He's
maybe 9 all the way from tip to tip.
Yeah, that's true. He could be about 9 feet. So he's a very big, and you may not know, but crocodiles can run super fast. Like they are wicked fast. In fact, if you go to the CARE Foundation Facebook page, they have a video of Ngozi, or maybe on the Instagram, and Ngozi is running to get food. They feed him raw chicken and he loves it. So he was being a very bad crocodile when we got there because they were having a cold streak. And for whatever reason, the water in his, he's got like this big pool, is warmer than the outside. So they need to go into water because they could die from the cold streak, but he wouldn't go in. And Kristen, so this was Friday when I talked to Kristen, and she's like, that jerk is not going in. I'm really worried, because she's lost other alligators through the cold when they wouldn't do it. So we get there on Friday, Nicholas and I, and we're doing some Reiki, and we see Ngozi, who's out, which is like Ngozi's never out. So it was really quite a treat that Ngozi decided to join our class. And then we get there, and Ngozi's in the pool on Saturday. he got into his pool and he was being a good boy. And so it was really wonderful to be able to see that, how, Ngozi was being difficult. And then Nicholas and I offered Reiki and we're, asking him to go into the pool, but, not like animal communication, just like, oh, please, Ngozi, go in the pool. It's going to be healthy for you. And then leaving and then coming back the next day and Ngozi's in the pool. And the pool is covered with this really like almost like little teeny lily pads. And so Ngozi would come up and he'd be all green. And so we have some great pictures. But it was really interesting. Usually Ngozi stays still during meditations. I've only seen him, like he's opened up his jaws for me when I was chanting one time. He was opening and closing his jaws. And Kristen said they only do that when they're hot, and it wasn't hot. It was like 70 degrees. So when Mel and her niece went down to share space with Ngozi was swimming and started to move around. And Ngozi, in the 11 years that I've gone there, first of all, the first like 5 years we would go, Ngozi would hide. He wouldn't even come out. And then he started to become more involved in what we were doing. But to actually be swimming and be active during our Reiki treatment was really quite amazing. So we had an incredible time, didn't we, Mel?
Absolutely. It was such a delight. And I thought it was an optical illusion at first because I was looking through the fencing, and then I said, wait, and I focused on one pole and, this started, and as I kept chanting, and he'd start swimming all over, you could see the path through the green and the paths, how much he was swimming, and then he's splashing his tail, the water with his tail, and then the next day, he came out.
Yeah.
So,
he came all the way out and was
all the way out
out
and up there, and then would turn. I did different chanting. At a certain point, he was facing the other way. He'd just stop, and one leg would turn this way, and then his whole head would just turn and look at me a little bit. Then he'd go. Then he'd do it again. We'd switch. If I switched chants, every time I'd switch, he would turn and look at me.
Different energy, right?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
It's a different energy. Like when you learn level 2, and Mel was in the animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners class. So that's a combination of level 1 and level 2. So we're doing the chants, and we're actually doing chanting of Chokurei, Seiheki, Honshaze Shonen. And so with Chokurei, your energy is grounded. With Seiheki, your energy is more, the psychic, the heaven energy. And then Honshaze Shonen, your heart connection. And so different energies. And so it was such an amazing experience we had there. And I really hope everyone can join us there. Hopefully Jamie and I can go together next year and do a co-teaching, because that would be really amazing. It's such an interesting, loving place. Like all the animals are happy there too, right, Mel?
Absolutely.
Because they're in cages.
Joy.
There's just pure joy that comes from these animals. They love being there. They love Kristen. They love us. They love it when we come and offer Reiki, and you could tell.
When we started down the path, as we were taking our tour, but we get to a certain point, and as we're kind of crusting this thing, all of a sudden all the tigers start chuffing, and because they hear us coming, and they get so excited.
And that's really quite an experience when a tiger is excited for you.
Oh, absolutely. Or really commands your attention and makes it very clear, no, you need to stay right here with me.
Yeah. So that was, and one thing that we did practice there, so when we're there, and this ties into what we're going to talk about today, is that when we're there, we're always focusing on all is well and a joy in our heart, right? And so we talked about that a lot, right, Mel? That when we're with animals, even with people, that having that all is well and keeping joy in our heart and not seeing what's wrong, but seeing their heart. So it's just like if I lose my arm and lose my leg, an animal looks at me as they see the same person. Nothing's changed for them.
Yep.
But if we look at each other, we see, oh God, Leah doesn't have an arm, she doesn't have a leg anymore. Oh, that's so sad. Right? But animals just see our essence. That's what they're looking at. And that's what we need to do with them. And that's what are the classes that, Jamie teaches a level 1 and a level 2. And then those classes, that's what we focus on, right? Jamie, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. And in the beginning of our journey, it's almost about unlearning, right? What we've learned as we go through life and giving us the tools so we can unlearn all these things and really get back to who we are. It's about us. We have to work on ourselves and let go of some of the attachments that we have. And that's what, level 1 and 2 really teaches us, but it also, teaches us, of course, techniques on how to work with the animals and how to offer Reiki to animals and how to be with animals. But a lot of it is, we got to do the work on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't, we're going to see it in how the animals respond or do not respond to us. They don't lie. And it's like they just hold the mirror up. They're like a mirror to us. And we can see exactly what's going on with us if we really learn to watch how they're responding to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, and Jamie and I, we're certified in, from the School of Positive, Living or Positive, what is that school? Anyway, we're certified meditation teachers, right? But we learned a really fun, we're going to go into this later on at the end of the Zoom session, but I thought, Jamie, let's walk them through just the smiling meditation. Do you want to lead that? I'll lead the meditation at the end, but do you want to lead yeah, that would be fun.
Okay, so with the smiling meditation, just start by taking, now, Darlene, you're driving, so don't close.
But you can still smile.
You can still smile. So start off, you can close your eyes if you can, if it's safe. Take just a couple of deep, slow breaths to kind of calm yourself. Put the focus on your face. Feel your cheeks and your jaw and let them relax. Just let everything relax. And now slowly allow a smile to form on your face. And hold that smile. Notice how your energy shifts when you smile. And now release the smile. Allow your mouth to just relax, your jaw to relax again. Feel the shift in energy. And then go ahead and allow a smile to slowly appear on your face, noticing how it changes your energy. Now release that smile again. And let's do one more time. Smile. Notice how it changes your energy. And release the smile. And you can open your eyes. Did you guys feel that? Could you feel the shift in energy when you smiled and then when you just relaxed?
Yep. It's so powerful. It's a great meditation just to, when you're feeling so stressed and you just can't get on top of yourself, just to do that. So it's hard to think of something that's going to make you smile when you're really stressed. So for me, for whatever reason, bunnies make me just crack up. Even the word bunnies makes me crack up. I don't even know what about bunnies it is, but if I think about bunnies, I will just smile because bunnies make me so happy. So what I will do, since Jamie and I learned this, a few months ago, I will just, oh gosh, this is bad. So I just think about bunnies and I just close my eyes and I start smiling. And it's so great how it really shifts your energy. You're like, okay, now you've got some space between you and that issue. And you're actually feeling good. And so you can look at it with a different eye. You can go, oh, that actually, okay, yeah, it's bad, but it's not that bad, or wow, you know what? I know what I could do. I could do this. And you can kind of solve your own problem, right? But I love that so much, that meditation, because it does bring that joy into your heart. And that's really what we need to be reflecting to the animals is joy. They don't want us coming all wrong. This is wrong. I'm so serious. Or worse, oh my God, there's something wrong with you. Oh my gosh, you need healing. I mean, who wants to hear that? I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I know I'm defective. I don't want to hear that.
And everybody, I think, has something that will put a smile on your face when you
Yeah.
think about it. It may not be bunnies, but you've got something in your life that makes you smile. And it's so easy to bring that to mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy. I mean, we have goofy animals, right? I mean, our animals are so goofy.
Yeah,
And
they are.
so we can, and I know, Mel, you've got a ton of animals. I'm sure you've got some goofballs in there that you can just completely think about and just, laugh. And we can think about things that have happened to us too, that we thought were bad at the time. And then we just have to laugh. Like, so I had this really tragic thing happen to me. It was like a life-changing thing with my ex-husband, but I won't go into the gory details, but at some point he took off with this homeless girl, and they were taking the money that we had in our accounts, and he was taking her to 5-star hotels along the coast of California to stay. And I don't know why he didn't use our credit cards, but thank God he didn't, but he wasn't in his right mind anyway at the time. And so I had to go clog everything up. But when I look at it now, and even then I'm like, he didn't even take me to these places, and he's taking some homeless, drugged out girl to these places. Do you know what I mean? You can always find joy in the darkest times if you have this practice, right? And so that's really what our meditation practice brings us, is that strength for grounding, that strength so that we can handle things. And if we can handle bad things in our own life, we can help support for other people. Because one thing, when I was going through that, and one day I'll share the long sordid story about that, but when I was going through that, the one thing that I had were friends that could hold space for me, friends that didn't judge me, friends that didn't say, you need to do this, because I'd had those friends, oh my God, you need to do this. And they were coming to me with fear. Now, some of those friends weren't that good, and I just kind of pushed them away. But like my very best friend in the whole world, Christy, she was all about fear. Oh my God, you've got to do this, this, and this. But because of my practice, I could look at her and go, I get why you're scared. I get where you're coming from, but it's okay. And I could calm her down. But when I was crying so hard, I couldn't even breathe, I had good friends that I could call, and they would just hold space and say, okay, let's just breathe. Let's get through this. And then every day I literally watched something funny. There's this really cute show. It was a TV show called Playing House that they stopped doing, but it's about these two girls that are best friends, and they live with each other, and it would just make me laugh. So I would just turn that on, or I'd watch stand-up comedy during those really bad days, and I would laugh, because the energy of sadness and of feeling like oppressed and helpless wasn't helping. But when I would laugh, and when I could give myself that space, I would go, okay, I can handle today. What am I going to do today? Today is going to look like this. And I wouldn't think about tomorrow because it was too overwhelming. But right now, today, this is what I could do. But I always, every single day during that darkest time, I made sure I am laughing. Didn't watch anything sad. I just laughed, because my life was already tragic enough. I was going through some crazy crap that I'd never gone through in my entire life. But I look back on it and I'm all, okay, I was able to walk through fire. I'd walk through that same fire again, knowing what the outcome was going to be. Because literally within less than a year from when everything started, before he took off with that woman, I was in Portland, starting an edibles business, living a completely different life, and happy. And feeling the best I'd ever felt. So like literally because of that dark time, then I could be strength. And that's really what our practice gives us, right? And I don't know if you want to comment on that, Jamie.
Absolutely. And I think it's important, I think sometimes people think when you're in the middle of this, to look for humor, to laugh is almost like being maybe disrespectful of what's happening.
Right.
And it's not necessarily. I mean, there could be, if you're making fun of someone else going through it, that could be disrespectful. But when you're just looking for something to make you laugh, to lighten, elevate your energy, to bring you joy, there's nothing disrespectful. And it doesn't mean you don't understand the seriousness of whatever the situation is. It's not like you're disregarding that. But you do absolutely no good if you allow yourself to just drown in this sadness, because then you can't help anyone. You can't help yourself. You can't fulfill the purpose that you came to this planet to do. You just, you can't do anything. You're in this muck and you're drowning, and you may never get out of it. But it's just this laughter that it's like a life vest, and it keeps you afloat. And so I don't think anybody should ever feel bad about looking for humor in dark situations. I have a friend, she's been through a lot of medical things. She's on dialysis, and the doctor wants to put in something into her arm so she that they usually do, then they don't have this external port, less chance of infection. She's kind of been fighting it. And she was just recently diagnosed with breast cancer. So she's going to be going through that. But when she told me, I said, she and I are very, very close. And I said, well, you'll do anything not to have to put that thing in your arm, won't you? And she said, absolutely. I'm going to fight that doctor all the way. And, then she laughed. And so I think it's important for us to be there to support people. And you have to be careful. You have to know the person well, to say something. But she and I are very, very close. We've known each other a very long time. And so I'm in a position where I could do that, to just make her laugh. It's like, okay, just laugh. It's all going to be fine. All is well. All is well. And I told her, I said, this is just a chapter in your life. And pretty soon you're going to close the chapter to this episode. And, I said, yeah, your life is kind of like a bestseller or a Lifetime movie. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's one of those two. And again, I think it's so important that when our friends are going through something like that, that we're able to still be the light and still find a little bit of humor to make them laugh. And, maybe it's not about what they're going through, but we really need to not get caught up in this sadness, because I really could, as I watch what she's been through. We've been so close, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy. And I could go there, but I'd be no good to her. And so humor is what lifts us up.
It is. Well, and when Kathleen was going through breast cancer, I remember when she had her surgery and, she was staying in the hospital, and I went to go be with her, and she said, okay, I can't laugh. And we literally laughed the entire time. It was like they had to get her, she had a catheter. And so they had to drain out her thing. And for whatever reason, the nurses didn't come. And so the one nurse had it, and it was like 2 beer steins. And I'm all, well, look, it's Oktoberfest and it's only June, or whatever. So we were just, it looked literally like beer. And I'm like, oh my God, you don't drink beer, but obviously it's coming out of you. But, it's just, we laughed, and it made her feel so much better, because if we were to be really serious, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, and that isn't helpful. And it's the same thing with animals. It's not helpful for us to go to them and be like, this is really serious. Oh my gosh, you're dying. Oh my gosh, your parents are upset. I'm upset. We can't be there. We have to be in that space of positivity and like, I love you and I'm here to support you. And we're gonna get through this. But it's hard with our own animals. It's a little bit easier when we're supporting someone else and their animal. That's much easier. When it is for our own animal, it is a lot harder. And I'll say that because I know with my dog Titus, it was very hard for me to be happy and like everything's going to be fine when I knew it wasn't. And so that's again when you reach out to other people to help support you, because it is really hard to go through that alone.
Yes. And I think that's why it's so important that we practice our practice every day. To prepare ourselves, fortify ourselves for what may happen in life. It's so important to practice.
No, absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about stuff. I don't know if we want to open it up to questions, Jamie. What do you think?
Sure,
or you want to talk some more? You want to talk some more about our topic?
Let's see if anybody has any questions or any comments, and then we can go into the topic.
We've kind of touched on the topic a little bit.
Yeah, we have.
I don't have a question, but I've got, I was just going to say about smiling being infectious and how when you smile, you can't help but walk past somebody and you smile. And unless you're in a bad mood, in which case it just really annoys you because somebody's smiling if you're in a bad mood. But generally, it's, if somebody's smiling, it is so infectious. And I've actually, I don't know if you heard the poem about smiling being infectious and catching it like the flu, because I looked it up while you were speaking. So I found it if you want me to read it out.
Yeah, please.
You want me to read it out? Okay. So it's by Spike Milligan. And it says, smiling is infectious, you catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I passed around the corner and someone saw my grin. When he smiled, I realised I'd passed it on to him. I thought about that smile, then I realised its worth. A single smile just like mine could travel around the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Let's start an epidemic quick and get the world infected. And I just love it. I just think it's so great.
Oh my God,
I'll just share it with you.
I love that.
That's
Who
cute.
is that written by, Yvonne?
Spike Milligan. I actually printed it out and had it in a frame at one point in my house because I just loved it so much that I just couldn't help but smile every time I walked past it. So yeah, I just thought I would share that with you.
I love that. I love that so much. That is thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's, we always want to make sure that we're spreading our light. Our light is joyful. It isn't like dark. That's a cloud. We're a light. We're not clouds.
Absolutely.
Does
I like
anyone else have something they want to add?
Yeah, I want to add, I have, again, it's hard when it's your own animals. These are very good friends.
Yeah.
And so it's their animal. And, I did they went on vacation and were scared the dog was going to die while they were on vacation. And so I told them, I said, I would visit her. They had pet sitters come in and that were my pet sitters, and I would go and Reiki her while they were gone. And, if there was something funny, I'd share it. But in general, there were not to be walking around waiting for a phone call, because I said, even if something happens, it's not coming. We're not going to, so don't wait for the shoe to drop. And so they've been very anxious, and they just got back, and I got a call and they said, would I come and do a session with her? And because she wasn't doing well. And I kind of had an idea, I went, and it's her husband's dog, and he's very, very anxious with her. And he gets real frustrated. And I talked to him, I said, don't yell, this, explain, she think it's at her, and you just try to be just joyful with her.
Right.
And he said she wasn't getting up, and she's got a lot of serious issues, and she's old. And so I went, but, and I had to leave all the dogs in. I said, no, they're not, no, let everybody stay. And we did our session, and, I had a smile on my face most of the time as well. And just trying to bring joy in that light to everybody. The animal, she's fine. I mean, she accepts it. She loves it. She gets excited for it. But bestowing that calm, I needed to do that for her parents, that all is well, live in the moment with her, do what you can. If she overdoes it, which is what had happened, she's going to pay for it, just like a person does. So she's arthritic and stiff, and she was going in and out. So she's going to have some bad days, and it's going to be up and down. But, just tell them, that all is well, it will work out. And she said, he was very anxious. He didn't want to take her to the vet. And what I shared was, I said, he's afraid of what they will tell him. And he's also afraid what they won't tell him, because he's afraid he's going to have to make that decision. So if he, they say, oh, it's time, or we can't, going to take her home. She's fine. We can't do anything else for her, and then he's like hanging longer and longer. And so just keeping them calm helped them. And it definitely helps all the animals, because they all feel that tension. And
I love that, because that's exactly what we're talking about today, ways to calm the people. And then, like you just said, when you calm the people, the animal can calm.
Absolutely. And everybody, everybody went to sleep. And you know, it was very peaceful. And we did not your favorite thing, but we did the healing bridge. And
It's a great meditation, though. It is a
it's
great.
a great meditation. And I always usually have someone come forward to help, and I did. And that's probably, I had that grin on my face. And you know, and they've got a lot to go through. She's getting ready to go in a wheelchair. I've had an animal in a wheelchair before. But you just keep reinforcing with them. And they're both clients of mine as well.
Mhm.
So, you know, when it was with her, they felt it because they know what that feels like, and everybody just relaxed.
Right.
Which is, you know, just again, all is well, live in the moment. You
Mhm.
know, and nothing's going to change what will or won't happen or when. So, you know, be patient, be joyful, and, you know,
Yeah.
baby steps.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that, Mel, because that's so important. You know, just we have to calm ourselves, be it the all is well, or doing self healing on ourselves, or just that breath or the smiling meditation, but to calm ourselves, and then we can calm the situation, because that's all the animals want from us. They show us time and time again.
Absolutely. And you know, that's so true. And we're so lucky that the system of animal Reiki, you know, the Let Animals Lead, gives us so many tools to calm ourselves. You know, the precepts are great. And Leah, you and I were talking about that, how you almost need to kind of look at them from reverse, right?
Yeah.
And go up the ladder, because yes, you know, we can be compassionate to ourselves and others, but only when, you know, we're really being honest in our work, and when we're being grateful. And if we're not doing those steps, then pretty soon we start to worry and we get angry. Those are like the results of not practicing. But when we do practice, we are in that space where we can be compassionate, you know, to ourselves, to others. We can be kind. We can just feel the joy. We can be the light and bring joy into other people's lives or animals' lives. And that's so important, because that's what animals do. If you think about it, you know, they just are. They're present. They're in the moment. They are who they are. You know, I've got 3 and they are so different. And the littlest one is just a clown, you know, and doing goofy things all the time. So I'm always laughing at her. The other girl is quite serious and a hunter and tries to just keep everything in control. But even that can be a little too much sometimes. And I'll know that how I respond to her makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So she's having trouble with the little one, you know, accepting her, and she goes after her. And so if I just grab her and, you know, stay calm, don't get angry, don't get upset, she will quiet down. So I think it's just so important that we work on ourselves, and we're so lucky we have the precepts. The precepts are really, really powerful. They don't seem like they're that difficult, or, you know, they're simple. You might think, oh, these are just simple things and I can read through them really fast every day. But that's not really how they're meant to be read either. They're meant to be read with reverence, slowly, to really embody those and take those in and think about what they mean in your life. And so how we approach our practice makes a big difference too. Do we approach it with the reverence it deserves? You know, because some of these practices go way back and they were considered sacred, not necessarily secret, but sacred. And so do we approach it with that in mind? And I think that's important, just doing our breathing techniques, the precepts, trying to live by those precepts, you know, just for today, living in that moment, remembering that all is well, remembering who we really are, that light, and making the connection that we're connected to all life. That makes a big difference for our animals, and they respond to it. And we've all seen it, how they respond to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because they're responding to us calming ourselves down, right?
Yes.
All they're responding to is our energy is so big. Like we don't realize we're more energies. You know, science proves that we're more energy than we are matter. And so we're like this big ball of energy, boom, boom, you know, like big sumo wrestlers coming up to the animals. And, you know, we think we're like this and we're like this with our energy. So if our energy is all Tasmanian devil, you can see why the animals are like, whoa, whoa, no, no. Well, in fact, when we were doing chanting at care in front of the liger, he's a 900-pound big boy, and he's a big goofball, and he's going through puberty, so he's all 3, so he's got, you know, his teenage years coming up, and he's feeling really frisky. Well, the energy, people weren't necessarily comfortable with chanting, the students, and the energy was maybe not, you know, because usually you could just chant and it would be fine, but because there were so many of us and the energy was kind of like people weren't exactly comfortable with chanting, he was getting upset. He was biting at the fence. We had to move because, right, Mel, it was really crazy.
If you've never heard Leah chastise a 900-pound liger, it's just like, stop, just like you do, dog. Stop.
I was like, stop biting that. You're going to hurt your teeth. Stop.
Don't bite that. You're going to
no.
break your teeth.
But then he did calm down when we moved, but it was our energy, you know, and not necessarily the energy of the people that felt comfortable with it. There were people who didn't feel comfortable with chanting.
Absolutely.
Chanting. And so, you know, the energy is like this, it starts to go like this, even though we may not pick up on it, the animals, it's so strong that for him, it's like, this is not what Reiki is. He didn't like that. Because, you know, I think that some other people went and stood by him and did the soft chanting and he was fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He was fine.
Fine.
Absolutely fine with it.
Teaching the class and having everybody's energy. So again, you know, like we really have to be aware of what we're doing when we're sitting with animals. How am I feeling? What's going on inside of me? You know, am I feeling off? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling weird? If I am, then I need to get away from the animals and go and prepare myself.
You know, and that was one of the first time, the group chanting that we did together.
Yeah.
And people who had, like I said, had not chanted, I think were so focused on I'm gonna screw up the chant, I'm gonna do it wrong.
Right. Yep.
That that made everything really bumpy.
Right. Yeah, because it was kind of crazy. But again, you know, it was a great lesson. Watch the animals' energy. If they're not liking it, then we need to step away and really focus on us, because it's not them, it's us.
Right.
There, you know, because he was totally fine earlier when we were doing All Is Well and all these other things, that he was totally fine, loved it. But as soon as that chanting started, and so really being mindful, and that's why we keep our eyes like half open when we do our practice, if it's an animal that we're not used to, because we always want to be aware of how they're reacting, because they might give subtle signs. They might just like turn around and go hide deeper in a corner. If it's a cat, or feign sleep, or do these other stress behaviors in order for you to leave. So it's really paying attention to what's going on here and what am I putting out here. And I love that about our practice. We get really in tune to our energy, really in tune to what's truly happening. And we can see too when others are off balance and be like, oh, you know what? They need a hug. Instead of saying, are you okay? You can just go, you know what? Do you need a hug? Because I'm here to give you a hug. Because I hated that. Oh God, when I worked in an office, oh, are you having a bad day? You look like you're having a bad day. I'm like, oh my God, I am having a bad day now. And, you know, just like, come here, as I could stab you with my pen. But you know, it's instead just saying to somebody, I see you, I hear you, I want to give you a hug, you know. Or if they're not a hugger, you just say, you know, do you want to talk? Is there something you want to say? Or hey, or even just saying, hey, you want to go get some coffee, and not talking about it, just like getting them out of their space, right? That's always a good thing too. But I don't know if you want to add more to that, Jamie. Oh, it's 11:11.
And how about that? It is 11:11.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it reminds us the importance of getting out of our mind when we're, you know, trying to offer Reiki to animals, like the students who were worried about, am I doing this chanting right? Well, just do it, you know, so what if you say the word wrong or whatever, just be in that moment, be in that energy and experience. Once you're in your head, then the animals get really unsettled. They're like, I don't know what to think about this. And you're unsettled. You know, I've been there too. It's like, oh, am I doing this right? And I'm unsettled. The animal's unsettled. So it's just about gaining confidence, which we do by practice, right? So it's really important that we practice so we get that confidence so we can go and not be in our head when we're present with animals, and then accepting what happens. You know, my gosh, you don't have to do it perfectly. There's no perfect way to do this. Yes, we have techniques that we use, and we understand there's a system, you know, that animals appreciate, and it's respectful to them, and we should do that. But if you mess up in your chanting, so what? Just keep going. You know, as long as you're aware of how the animal is responding and you're not in your head and you're just present with them, and you watch how they respond. If they look upset, just like you did at care, move away. There's nothing wrong with removing yourself from a situation. You know, like if you're at work and things are just getting too much for you, there's nothing wrong with just removing yourself for a minute. Maybe that's what you have to do. Maybe the breathing isn't working. Maybe you can't find anything to smile about. Then go to the break room, or, you know, just step away. Go outside and get some fresh air. Let the sun hit your face. You know, for me, that's a big one. I got to have sun. I live in the desert. So, you know, it's just probably a good thing. And it makes a huge difference. It just is like, oh, yeah, okay. So I think, you know, just being kind to ourselves. I think it goes back to being kind to ourselves, not expecting perfection throughout all this, is really important.
Absolutely. I think that's
It's
where we
really
get-
good.
Yeah.
It's really good to hear that. Like here today, no matter where we are in our practice, we need to hear that all the time, for ourselves. And that's why I've been trying so hard to get with y'all here. My level 3 group, we decided and we're online, but we decided we can't live without each other. So
I know. Isn't that crazy?
we can't, you know.
Classes, and this is a plug for the online classes, even the in-person classes, because it's such an open, sacred space where you're learning this method, you become very tightly bonded by your
Absolutely.
attendees, because it's just, you're sharing a really sacred space. They're sharing stories, you're sharing stories, you're really sharing a part of yourself, and then the animal experience really bring us all together. And I mean, I can imagine in the level 3 too, because that's even more intense.
Right. And after spending so intense for such a, you know, lengthy period, like we do a team meeting for an hour and a half once a week.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, sometimes it's topical. But if somebody's going through something, needs to share something, then we go that way. We always do a group meditation together. And we have somebody like going through something very heavy. It just got even heavier. And, you know, and she's not ready to say everything. Because it's too raw. It's with one of her animals and something she's going through. And so we went off topic and we just shared stories of our own animals. And we laughed we went over an hour. I mean, like we were down there, we were laughing for 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
Just telling stories and learning more about each other. And, you know, we have a Google Doc area that everybody goes, and we share everything from
I love that
sources,
so much.
our other lineages we've done. We share book references. We share in-depth biographies of each of us, pictures of our pets.
I love this because it's community, right? It's community. It's bringing people together in the space of community. And we need our tribes, especially women. We need our tribes. And so I love that.
It means a lot, and that we can share, you know, kind of like purge about what worked that week, what they spent time with this animal, and they don't know if it really helped. So we talk about it and we reflect on it,
Yeah.
and, you know, kind of guide each other and hold hands. And yeah, I'm sitting here looking at Yvonne outside. Yvonne and I holding hands over her kitty, who was extraordinarily ill. And, you know, so much Reiki space and love held for her. And
I have to show you Mel, actually. She's sitting here. Look, I don't know if you can see it.
look at her.
There she is.
Bless her heart.
You were amazing with the Reiki you sent, so I'm glad you can see her there actually. So thank you for what you sent. Amazing.
It's such a gift. It's such a gift. And, you know, and this is the thing, when you learn this method, and it's why we do these Zoom calls, just having that community of bringing us all together, of bringing this, you know, just, we're all in different places, but we all have a common goal of being there for the animals and supporting each other in this beautiful space. So I love that.
It's on such a different level as well, so because, you know, like Mel says, you feel that you can reach out, especially in the Reiki and Source Healing page. You know that the energy is there, it's a good energy. You know, sometimes I know you can go on these sort of Facebook pages and go into groups and there's sort of negative energy, but it's always such a lovely energy. And you know that it comes from the heart, people share it from the heart. And when, you know, at one point we nearly lost Shadow, we didn't think she was going to, in fact, I didn't think she was going to pull through. I always had it right out there, she was pulling through. There was no other answer for it, she was pulling through, but we really weren't sure if the vet really wasn't sure if she was going to pull through or not. And the love that just absolutely poured out was just incredible, absolutely incredible. And I think even like, I mean, that's what your community does, Leah. You know, when we joined up with yourself, you created that, and with the office hours, you created that. So when I saw Mel when we first came on the call, it's like, oh my God, there's Mel. It's like, I've seen your ages. It's like a long lost friend. It's like, where have you been?
Yeah. Know it.
And every week, you know, like the office hours, it was just like, even if you didn't have a question to ask, you wanted to come along because you just shared that common goal and that common understanding, where other people you probably couldn't even say, animal Reiki, what on earth are you talking about? What's all that woo-woo stuff, you know? But these people that you connect with are on the same page, and yeah, the community that you create is incredible. Yeah, so thank you.
I love too that your fence matches Mel's sweatshirt.
Actually, the decking that I'm on, the dog was there. I don't know if you can see what she just done.
Oh no.
But the cat's up there, and the dog decided, Nala decided to come up and join me, and decided to take the hot tea I hadn't drunk over everything I've been writing all afternoon. However, it's the first time we've had sunshine, so I wasn't losing out on it. We might not get it again this year. So
I heard, and there's in my other in my entrepreneur group, there's people from the UK, and they were like, oh my God, it's been so nice the past few days, beautiful sun.
Been amazing.
Spring. Well, they say climate change is going to, you guys are going to be the new wine country, so you know you're going to get lots of sun in England for sure. I don't know about Scotland.
But, oh really? Wow. I'll just eat the grapes and no fuss for the wine.
Yeah, climate change is creating that. Well, like in Oregon, you know, Oregon didn't used to be wine country at all, but because of climate change, it's getting hotter up. So now Oregon's got all kinds of wine.
Oh, one country. I thought you said a wine country.
Oh, wine, red wine, white wine, Chardonnay.
Oh, right, it was quite.
So does anyone else have any more questions? Because we can go into our meditation. I hope I don't fall asleep in the meditation because I'm tired.
Maybe just a quick question. Yeah. If you're given Reiki or not given Reiki, if you're holding space, somebody comes into the room, it's not got the same kind of energy. Does that impact what you are doing? Does the animal still pick up the good space that you're holding? Or I'm thinking actually one night that I was holding space, my husband came in, was reading his Kindle and he couldn't get it to work. He got more and more frustrated, and I'm sitting there holding the space, keeping the space, thinking I'm not coming out of it. And it was afterwards I thought maybe I was wasting my time. You know, the animals might not have gained from it anyway. Would that have made any difference, the fact that his energy was kind of texture?
Here's where your practice comes into play, because the strength of your because don't forget the animals are connected too. So it's the three of you against him. And your energy, if you don't buy into it, if you're just like keep in that space and keep like all is well or whatever, his energy will start to come down because you're no longer, remember, it's like this. So if you're like this, after
Yeah,
a while,
yeah,
energy is going to come down. So yeah, so it's,
yeah,
I know, and like at the shelter, you get that. You're sitting there, you're creating a space, people are going to come in and out, you know, just holding that space, just knowing that this space that you're created is much stronger than you realize. So when we give up on it, you know, we're like going, oh, okay, well, this happened, you know, then we give up on it. And it's like, why? We can get through that. We can, and actually it's good practice. It's really good
yeah. I
practice.
used it as a test. I used it as a challenge actually, just to make sure that I could stay in that space. I thought I'm not going to try and help him with this Kindle. He can just figure it out himself.
Absolutely. And you know, that's a good point, Leah. This really is, you know, strengthening our practice. Think of it as a muscle, you know, just like when you first start to work out, it's hard, things hurt, you maybe can't do as much. And it's the same as we begin our meditative practice. You know, we lose focus. It's like we're all over the place. It's like, but it's like a muscle. We just bring it back. And every time we do that, we're like lifting a weight kind of, you know, and we're bringing back and strengthening that muscle and making our practice stronger. So I see Leah is back with
yeah, she will not, she's going through something strange where she starts to see stuff, and then I don't know I don't know what it is, because it's not really her sight. It's like I have this bolster for yoga, and then I have a yoga mat, and I put him down because I have a really long hallway. I put him down so she won't go down. Well, then she starts getting upset. She sees that and it's out of place and she doesn't like it. She's growling and she won't stop. So I don't know what to do about this. It's like, Sissy, it's okay. It's okay. It's like nothing's happening, but she won't stop growling.
Is your next door? Remember at one point the dog next door was barking a lot, and that was upsetting.
Yeah,
Did
I
that
still
stop?
bark, she still barks on that, but right now this like continuous growling is because something is out of place and she doesn't like it, and so that's what she does. So Jamie, you're probably gonna have to lead this one. I'm so sorry.
okay, that's all right.
The whole time.
OCD. All right, so let's get comfortable and sit with our spine straight, but not stiff. And go ahead and close your eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths to release the stress of the day. You can roll your head and your neck and your shoulders and just let go of any tension you may be holding in your body. And now let's put our hands in Gaso. And we can dedicate the energy that we're about to create to the animals. And our intention can be to practice this meditation together. And go ahead and just put your hands in your lap or palms up, palms down, whatever's comfortable for you. And let's begin by doing the Josh and Kokyo breath, breathing in through our nose, all the way down to the hara, holding it for a moment, and then releasing it back out through our skin, our hands, our breath into the space around us. Take another slow breath in, breathing in all this beautiful energy all around us, all the way down to the hara. Hold it, and then release it back out into the space around you. Take another breath in. Fill the hara and then just hold it and release. And now on the next breath, as you breathe in all the way down to the hara, and then visualize a bright light as that energy fills your hara and it just grows bright. And then exhale and release this energy out. Take another breath. Filling the hara, expanding that light that's coming from your hara. And then releasing this energy back out into the space around you, to the planet, to the heavens. Do 3 more breaths on your own. Each time holding that breath in your hara so it brightens that beautiful light there. And then release it. And now let your breath just find a natural rhythm. It should be nice and relaxed. Face should be relaxed. And now slowly form a smile. And hold that smile and feel your energy elevate. Feel that sense of joy as you smile. Think of something that makes you smile if you need to. An animal, a person that always makes you smile. Ice cream, whatever it is. Think of that now and bring that smile to your face and hold it. Just allow that joy to wash over you. And now release the smile. Feel your energy settle, but you're still calm and happy. Put your hands in kasa. Give thanks to any animal that joined you, and give thanks to this beautiful Reiki energy that makes up everything. Then when you're ready, go ahead, take a deep cleansing breath to come back into the room. And open your eyes. Oops, you're still muted, Leah.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. We are right
you.
at 11:29. So we finished up with a beautiful meditation. Hopefully that will
Thank
get it
you very much.
for the day.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Darlene and Yvonne and Mel and Jazz. It was so great to see you all.
Yes, absolutely. We really appreciate you guys coming and being part of our tribe.
Yes.
You know, you're like our tribe, and we appreciate it. And this
Yes.
is where we share and grow and support each other. It's not just Leah and I supporting you. You support us as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad to see you, Mel. I miss you. And
Oh,
I
I
hadn't
miss you
seen you
too.
since care. So that was really nice. Thank you so much for coming.
Loved it.
That's
Every
such a
second.
great time. I'm so grateful for that time with you. So much fun.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.